1. In 2016, my girlfriend and I decided to go on our first vacation together. We booked a 3-night stay at the Belmont Hotel, which was a historic hotel in the old part of the city. It was an elegant manor-style home from the 1850s, and parts of the property looked to be from that period. Massive staircases, parlor room, and original furniture throughout. Our first day, we did the usual touristy stuff. Exhausted, we then settled into our room and crashed for the evening. Our first night, we barely slept. My girlfriend and I were both uncomfortable sleeping in the room, and felt like someone was watching us. A few hours later, around 3 a.m., we were abruptly woken up by a very loud sound coming from above our room. It sounded like someone was pulling or pushing a large piece of furniture. The stuttering of wood on wood and creaking was unbearably loud. This went on ad nauseum for a while, that we were totally awake, thinking someone was working upstairs like a staff member, moving furniture or rearranging the room. We were both dumbfounded, sitting upright in our beds, waiting for this to end. Second day, more touristy stuff, didn't think much of the previous night. The second night, we were zonked and went to sleep early. This night was strangely similar. We woke up around the same time to the exact same creaking and stuttering of furniture or something being moved around above us. It eventually stopped, like yesterday, and we managed to fall back asleep. Next thing I remember is my girlfriend waking me up abruptly saying, "What are you doing?" I awoke in the middle of the room in the dark, unpacking my bag, angrily throwing our clothes into the air. I snapped at her for asking me what I was doing and interrupting me. I was frustrated and agitated on waking. Suddenly, I vaguely remembered what I was doing, almost like a dream on waking, and you try to hang on to your dream. I sat on the bed and explained that I was looking for a key in the room, and I remembered wandering around the room desperately, searching the walls, floors, and furniture with my hands in the dark. I was getting more disturbed the more I explained this to my girlfriend. The idea that I was alone in this dark hotel room doing this really frightened me, because I had no control. Needless to say, we decided to call it early and head home and end our vacation. We drove the full 4-hour drive home that night in pitch darkness and fog. I called the hotel that morning to check out early. Speaking with the front desk, I mentioned the loud noises coming from above our room. She replied, "There is no room above yours. It's an attic space, and no staff would have been there at that time." I mentioned that it sounded like someone was dragging furniture on hardwood. She said there was lots of furniture stored up there. I asked her if the hotel was haunted. She responded reluctantly that she had heard similar stories. 2. I'm writing this as she's sitting with me so I can make sure she's okay with the post. When I was a little kid, like 6 or 7, my great-grandma died. I hadn't known, but she had willed me a vintage doll she owned. It was a pretty doll, with brown hair and bright blue eyes, that she had crocheted a beautiful dress for. But as a little girl, she scared me. She was put in a keepsake chest with other things that reminded me of her. We go forward to just after my birthday this year. It's been quite a while since the doll came into my possession, and I have come in contact with a family of ghosts. I've also converted to Wicca and specialize in divination. I felt it pull towards the keepsake chest, but my altar was on top of it, so I didn't think much of it. When I finally decided to check yesterday, I found the doll I had forgotten about. I felt that strong pull again. Her energy wasn't like my great-grandma's, but it wasn't negative. It felt like she wanted to talk to me and get my attention. To make a long story a little shorter, I used EVP to communicate, but she didn't like that. So then I used a Ouija board, which got me a little further. Finally, automatic writing got me the furthest. I learned the most from the writing session, which I kept a record of on my computer. I got her name and age as well as the year of death. Her name was Catherine, but she goes by Kathy. So I felt sleepy. I took a nap with her at the foot of my bed, and when I woke up, she was in my arms. I also had a strange dream about her while I napped. I sat around for a bit, and every time I left the room, she did move a little bit. Mostly her arms or eyes. Her eyes do blink. So I brought it up to the same medium friend of mine who helped me with the ghost family. She explained some things to me, and when I asked Kathy to give me a sign, the fire alarm went off, and my desk lamp's metal cover looked burnt. My stepmom blamed it on the candle on my nightstand, but it hadn't been lit. So while me and my sister talked in the hall, I peeked my head back in a few times and she kept on moving. We decided to bring her into my sister's room. I told her how Kathy wanted her hair unmatted and wanted me to sew her an orange and lemon dress. My sister unmatted her hair, and I'm getting the thread and fabric later today. We got distracted once more, and I made cookies, but every time we check on Kathy, she'd move again. When I went to bed last night, I just kept her in my arms because I just knew she'd end up there if I put her anywhere else. No weird dreams I remember last night. 3. So my mom died in 2015 when I was only 24. It was very sudden. She has visited me in a dream once, and sometimes, usually when something big is happening in my life, I will just randomly smell her very unique combo of perfume that she always bathed in. I commute a minimum of 2 hours a day, and about 6 weeks ago, there was a severe thunderstorm in my way. As I got closer, my phone started going crazy with weather alerts about tornadoes and hail. At this time, I was heading north, which was parallel to where this storm was sitting, and I could see exactly how big and bad this storm was. It was intimidating as fuck knowing I was about to turn west and head straight into the heart of it. In all of my hours on the road, I've hit some serious weather, and it's never kept me from going home. Thunderstorms, freezing rain, high winds, hail, even some whiteout conditions when I lived up north. My point being, I have drove through all of it. I had a feeling in my gut about this one, though. I knew it was going to be a long drive home, and I found myself hoping that I make it. So I turn west and face this wall of clouds and drive right into it. As soon as I got under it, it started raining on me, but within 3 miles it stopped, and everything got super still, not good at all. I floored it, but didn't get too far because there were other cars in front of me. This is where I start to panic. I can see the clouds moving in different directions simultaneously in front of me. "Oh, fuck," I yelled out loud. "We gotta get the fuck down the road, people." As you would imagine, no one sped up or did anything differently. I glance off to my right and notice that the clouds have started full rotations, and further back, there is a very obvious funnel forming over a parking lot. I'm crying now. I'm gonna die. This thing is gonna pick my car up and off this fucking road. I can feel the wind tugging at the back of my car and lifting it up off the road. "Mom, if there has ever been a time that I need you riding with me, it's now." I said through my tears. I just kept driving, like I always do. After having to do 35 to 40 miles per hour in a 70 the rest of the way home, because of the heavy-ass rain, I made it home safely. It was the weekend, so outside of sharing my story with my husband, I kinda let it slip my mind. Next week, when I was traveling the same road home, I passed the spot where I saw the tornado forming, and a wave of relief washed over me. I was very relieved that I didn't die there, but this feeling was overwhelming. I felt warm and fuzzy. While I was trying to figure out where this profound feeling was coming from, something weird happened. Someone blew in my ear from the back seat. All of my windows were up and my air conditioner was on high, yet somehow I could see my hair that sits behind my ear blowing in the opposite direction. I thought back to that day and immediately knew it was my mom. I believe that she was there to validate that she was riding with me the day that I could have and almost died. 4. I've had a couple of, I guess, paranormal things happen to me over the years. I say paranormal in quotes because I'm quite a skeptical person when it comes to things like ghosts. Anyway, the first thing I can remember happening was when I was about 7 or 8. I was in year 3 or 4 at the time, and one of my old friends told us this story about this black unicorn. I know it sounds stupid, but bear with me. And apparently this unicorn would come and take kids in the night. Now, I was a really naive kid, so I would normally believe crap like this. And this same friend, Daisy, told us that the unicorn had gone after our other friend, Emily, and she wasn't in school that day, so my naive self believed what I'd been told. After that had happened, I went on with my day, but with the lingering thought of that thing in my head. Nothing happened for a couple of days until it was lunch, and I was out in the playground and I remembered it as clear as day. I looked over towards the bushes and saw this black unicorn looking at me. Thought it was more humanoid looking. When I went to point it out to my friend, there was nothing there. That's when the nightmares started. I don't remember most of them, but there was this one that reoccurred a lot. I'd be laying on my bed at my nan's, and I'd hear the door open, and said unicorn would walk towards me and just stand there. Then everything would go black, and I'd feel a heavy weight on my chest, then I'd wake up. That was the most frequent one, and there were a few others. After one nightmare, I remember opening my door in the morning and seeing a black shadow on the stairs. Again, looking quite humanoid, but also like it was on all fours. It stayed there for about 5 seconds before just sort of slowly fading away. This happened a lot throughout the day, and over the next few weeks, it would edge further up the stairs until it was more or less in front of my bedroom door. Eventually, the nightmares stopped, and as I grew up, I just chalked it up to an overactive imagination. But at the time of writing this, I'm 16 and I still see the black shadow creature, either on the stairs or out of the corner of my eye. I'm sure it's just some deep-rooted fear that stayed with me, but it still creeps me out to think about, even now. The second and third stories are a lot shorter. The second one happened when I was 11. I think I was leaving my bedroom, which was opposite from my parents' room, and as I turned to head down the stairs, I heard someone say my name. I turned around, expecting to see my mum standing there. Instead, I saw a woman. I don't remember her face, but she had shoulder-length blonde hair, a blue floral top, a white knee-length skirt with flowers on it, and dark blue shoes. I quickly turned back around and ran downstairs. I told my mum, and she just said I was imagining things. But I can still hear her voice clear as day in my head. Finally, when I had my 12th birthday, me and my friends played that crappy game Charlie Charlie. If you don't know the game, basically you get a sheet of paper and split it into 4, and write yes and no on either side, with each yes and each no being diagonal from each other. Then you place 2 pencils on the drawn lines and start by saying, "Charlie, Charlie, are you there?" Then the pencil on top was supposed to move to either yes or no. We always played the game and asked the usual questions like, "Are you here?" and other crap like that. The last question we asked was along the lines of, "Are you here to hurt us?" I was trying to ask something that would scare my friend Melody, as she was the easiest to scare. And when it spun to yes, Melody immediately threw the paper into the bin. Now, I don't know much about ghosts, but I was pretty sure at the time that you were supposed to say goodbye or something, but at the time none of us thought anything of it. Nothing happened until later that night when Ophelia was asleep, and me and Melody were talking, and the door to the living room slammed shut with quite a lot of force. Me and Melody sat there for a bit before I decided to get up and check the windows in the house, all of which were closed, bar the kitchen one, but the draft wasn't strong enough to slam that door with that force. To this day, I try to remain skeptical about the situation, but I still don't have a clear explanation for what happened. 5. When me and my friends went on a road trip to the Winchester house, our first stop was an Airbnb in Crescent City, so we could stay by the beach for a few days. I wish we hadn't gone there. Me and my friends were having fun. Our first mistake was when my friend declared me to kiss the creepy-looking bird painting. I think that's why he was so attached to me. The next day, we noticed strange scratches and bruises with no explanation. Me and my friend Althea are natural-born semi-clairvoyants. We don't have very much experience, but we can feel presences and have a unique connection to this world. While our friend Brienne believes in ghosts, but has no level of spiritual ascendancy. Our friend Kina doesn't advocate that they aren't real, but she has no strong belief in them and isn't afraid of them whatsoever. Kina was more of a witness to all this. We kept getting random urges to write things. Althea kept a pen and notebook with her at all times, but sometimes we ditched the notebook and just wrote on our arms. We'd scribble random things while staring ahead blankly, and we'd end up writing letters, words, or symbols. We pieced together some details about what happened to the ghosts. The spirits in that house, Penny, age unknown, ex-lover of Greg, 18 years old, older brother to Eliza and Jennifer, Elizabeth, 8 years, Jennifer 14, adopted sister of Greg. The painting I kissed housed Greg. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2, Althea licked the painting. Mistake number 3, talking to them. That night we held a seance after drawing random symbols was too difficult to decipher. We decided to try another way of communication that Althea suggested. You blindfold someone and play loud static in their ears, loud enough that they can't hear what you're saying or even that you're talking, allowing spirits to use them as a vessel and puppeteer answers and words. I won't literate the entire seance, but Eliza communicated most through Althea, Greg communicated most through me, and Penny communicated most through Brienne. We later figured out that towards the end of the seance, Jennifer lied to us and communicated with us under the name of another spirit or spirits. In the Airbnb conditions and rules, they had said to take off the sheets and pillowcases and leave them in the laundry room. Mistake number 4, when we left the house, we forgot to take off the sheets. When we stayed in the house, we made it very clear that the spirits were not allowed to follow any of us home. If you're unaware, in certain banishment rituals, you leave a place and don't look back. If you look back, it tells that spirit that you still want it in your life. When we got in the car, we realized we forgot to take off the sheets, and we had to go back into the house. Greg, Eliza, Penny, and Jennifer followed us home. At first, they seemed nice. They didn't seem to be doing any harm. However, we never trusted Penny. It seems to be stronger than the other spirits and isn't fully human anymore. It's surging closer to something else. We held a seance in my house and got more information about the spirits' relationships, and filled in some of the blanks on the previous events. Later that night, a different spirit approached me. It told me not to trust Greg, Eliza, or Penny. I told the 3 of them they aren't allowed in my house. I haven't felt alone in my room since then. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Paranormal Stories, episode 283. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, hit the like button if you'd be so kind. Thank you very much. And let's see, this went up on Friday originally, so No other business to take care of, so let's move right along to Hellraiser's question of the day. Alright, this one isn't very original, but it can be a fun one. If you could live in any fictional universe, which one would it be? Me, personally, I would like to live in the Star Trek universe, but not serve in Starfleet, because I'd like to have access to all the wonderful technology they have in that universe, the entertainment, the technology, the health, the health technology for like healing and things. That'd be great. But I would not want to serve on a starship, because as much as I love Star Trek and enjoy watching each episode when it airs, no, I'm not doing that. So what are yours? Let me know what you think in a comment below. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.